Hi, students. Next week we have benchmark testing, and I just wanted to give a quick overview of the two essay tasks that you are going to be responsible for doing. On Tuesday, you have to read a fictional passage and write a narrative task. And then on Wednesday, you have to read two more fictional texts or passages and write a literary analysis task. You will have to read the passages, answer multiple choice questions, and then write. And remember, these benchmarks are timed. For those of you who have accommodations and have extended time, then you don't have to worry about that. But I think Tuesday for the narrative is 60 minutes, and I think Wednesday for the literary analysis task, with the reading and multiple choice, all of it, I think is 75 minutes. Let's go on to the narrative task. A few things that I want to go over about the narrative task. It may ask you to rewrite the story from another point of view, of another character in the story, or it may ask you to continue the story. So please make sure you read the prompt carefully to see which of those you are asked to do. Make sure that your lead, the introduction of your narrative, is interesting, descriptive, that it foreshadows the conflict, that the reader understands who is in the story, where this story is taking place, and basically what is going to take place in your story. Use the same point of view in your narrative. So if the original story is in first person, you should also continue the story in first person. Or if you are writing from a different point of view and the original story is in third person or first person, please continue the same using the same point of view. Include dialogue. If the original story had dialogue, you should also include dialogue. Please don't forget how to punctuate that dialogue, your commas, and your periods and your exclamation points and your question marks. It always belongs inside of the quotation marks. So please make sure you punctuate the dialogue correctly. And follow the same basic storyline. Don't put dragons and aliens and spaceships in the story if that is not anything close to what happened in the original story. So what I want to look at very quickly, I want to look at a narrative essay, and read the very first paragraph and ask you a few questions. It says, learning something new can be a scary experience. One of the hardest things I've ever had to do was learn how to swim. I was always afraid of the water, but I decided that swimming was an important skill that I should learn. I also thought it would be good exercise and help me to become physically stronger. What I didn't realize was that learning to swim would also make me a more confident person. So, first of all, what point of view is the story being told from? I hope you guessed first person. You see, I. And this person basically tells you very early on in the story what they're doing and what the conflict is. They didn't know how to swim and they wanted to learn how to swim. A few things that they kind of hinted to that they're going to cover in their story is why they wanted to learn how to swim. Basically, they wanted to learn because they know it's an important skill. They know it's good exercise, and also to make them physically stronger. But in the midst of learning how to swim, they also became a more confident person. So the theme is kind of hinted to in the introduction as well. How something that you were afraid to do at first could actually make you a better person. So make sure you do all of those things in your narrative. Make sure you know the point of view. You hint to what the theme is or the lesson that the character is going to learn. But remember, if you are asked to rewrite from the point of view or continue the story, make sure you know which one of those things you're doing. Okay. Let's go on to the other essay task. It's literary analysis. Basically, we have been doing literary analysis essays throughout the entire unit of The Giver. Make sure you read and understand the prompt. Think and plan your answer. Please make sure you do some type of pre writing to organize your ideas. A lot of you have been restating the prompt in your introduction, but it really hasn't shown me that you really understand what you're writing about. So make sure you understand what's important in that prompt and you understand the question that you are responding to. You may have to analyze the characters, the setting, the plot, development, character development, use of foreshadowing, symbolism. The list can go on and on. They may ask you to analyze any one of those things. Always follow the same basic format: introduction, 2 to 3 body paragraphs, and conclusion. You should have at least two pieces of evidence in each one of your body paragraphs. Remember, this we're talking about literary analysis here. Evidence in literary analysis. Narrative is a story, no evidence. An explanation of the evidence should relate and connect to the prompt. Please make sure you are making those explanations good, at least 2 to 3 sentences, and do not repeat what the evidence says. Please don't do that. That's not how you explain. Let's take a look at a literary analysis very quickly. Let's go to the introduction paragraph. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. This quote by Marcel Proust speaks of discovering what's right in front of you by seeing it differently with new eyes. The main character, Jonas, in Lois Lowry's The Giver, goes through a similar experience when he discovers his capacity to see beyond. Jonas begins to see his community differently with an awareness or mindfulness that most people in the community have lacked. Mindfulness, in fact, is one of the central themes in The Giver. Although the book begins with what seems to be a perfect place, it turns out that the people in the community are living shallow and superficial lives. As Jonas begins his work as the receiver of memories, he gains wisdom, and through that wisdom, learns that in protecting the community from the memories, their lives have lacked feeling and understanding. In the end, Jonas learns to value his new way of seeing and chooses to risk everything to restore mindfulness and wisdom to everyone in the community. So I don't have the prompt here, but just based on this introduction paragraph, I know what this person is writing about. He's writing about, or they're writing about, the theme of mindfulness. Um, Jonas realizing that the community is lacking these things and he wants them to have or be able to experience all of the things that he has actually experienced. Another thing that I want to point out, this writer did a very creative way of starting off their literary analysis by using a quote that kind of related to the topic. They also included the author's name and they also included the title of the novel. So make sure you are doing that in your introduction paragraph. This writer is a very skilled writer, and eventually you will get to the point of writing like this and writing introductions that are this lengthy, and also introductions that kind of like set up for the reader where you're going as a writer throughout the rest of the paper. Okay. Something else I wanted to show you very quickly in this first body paragraph, you see that the evidence is highlighted here. You can pause the video and read this on your own. But what I want to basically show you is that before they give the evidence, they kind of set up what happened in the story and then they give the evidence. And so their evidence is not back to back. Their evidence and explanation is it's very, very thorough. This person used what's called parenthetical citations, and that they have the page numbers in parentheses. You don't have to do that. I've given you sentence starters a lot of times. Just like last week when we did our ECR number 4, use those sentence starters to introduce your evidence. And please don't start paragraphs off with evidence. You always should have a topic sentence to tell the reader what this paragraph is going to be about. You see right here, it says the people in Jonas's community share their feelings with family members in their dwellings each evening. However, the feelings they share are merely surface feelings, shared by mindless people, numbly going about their day, shallow and superficial. So what this person is basically trying to prove is that these people don't have any idea or clue that other feelings exist, or that the feelings that they're sharing aren't real true feelings. So he's going to use examples. He used the example with Lily, and then he uses the example with the father and Jonas having a conversation about love, to show that they really don't understand feelings. And that's because they don't have the memories like Jonas does. So this is what I wanted to kind of like show you and point out to you. Feel free to pause the video, rewind, review it again. Okay. Good luck next week on your benchmark testing, and please do your absolute best on all of your benchmarks. Thank you.